Okay, let's see. I think I got microphone going here. Let's let's try and get this started. Sorry for the delay. We got all sorts of new tech I'm trying out today, and I didn't have enough time to configure it the way I wanted to. The stream is constantly a work of improvement. So with that out of the way, let's get started. Today we got... I don't think we have any gambling today. Let me just double check real quick. Oh, we do. We have one magical standard set of 10 tickets. We'll go through those, and then we're going to do the expansion drill. We're going to do the cheese method. I'm going to show anybody who hasn't seen it yet how to do this boss. Cheese and kind of not cheese, because to be honest, the boss isn't that bad even if you don't do the cheese method. So we'll kind of do a mix of both. And then after that, man, I don't know, man. We're going to kind of do whatever we want. Go with the flow. Talk about the, the gacha game community. And, well, we got a new character coming up soon. Yohi, or Yuhi as they want you to pronounce it, but it is spelled Yohi. And I refuse. Actually, I don't care. You can call yourself whatever you want. You want to be Yuhi, you can be Yuhi. But she's going to be the next character. And yeah, we'll talk about her a little bit. I'll probably have to take a 5-minute break somewhere along the lines here and get a refill. But let's start. Let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and see if we get lucky. We're going for, I think this would be Chongju's segment. I don't know, like 5 or something. I don't remember. Nope. That was your gambling fix for the day. Sorry, guys. No winners. But we'll click through them. But yeah, not too much to report on the upcoming news. They had the Baylin Emergency Shelter broadcast air the other day, and like I said, it was just mostly just like a Yuhi preview. Nothing really interesting. Oh, dude, Radical Ink, you are right on time, man. I was the one that was late today. But we got nothing else interesting. This is the weird thing. It's like some weeks I have so much to go over, and then other weeks there's like nothing. Like we don't got any Gunsmoke Frontline this week. We don't have any. No, Arlo, I only do 10 tickets at a time. You know what? Just for you, actually, we'll do a couple singles just for you. Nope. But yeah, some weeks we have tons of stuff to do, and other weeks we don't have anything to do. And this is kind of like one of those weeks where we don't really have anything to do. We're gonna go over the expansion drill boss here in a minute, and like I said, we'll just kind of chit chat. I added a bunch of videos to the channel. Are they good? Probably not. They're mostly meme videos, but they're there. This is the one. I can feel it. I got a feeling about this one. My feeling was off. There we go. I broke my rule of no individual polls just for you guys. But yeah, we already grabbed our... So I'm not really 100% sure if we're going to grab Yuhi. I think we're going to do a 50-50 just to see how, we'll just let Jesus decide if we're going to grab it. I don't even know if I'm going to do so she's in a weird spot, right? So she is like a physical support buffer, right? Like she's kind of meant to do what Vector does for fire units. She's kind of in a way meant to do that for like physical team units, but we don't really have a lot of choices for like a physical core centric like damage dealer. Like the best options are like I guess Diane, and that's like kind of it. Yeah, I'm not really, I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head. So we're kind of, right now on the Xeon servers, they have UMP40. Like that's kind of like the new hot unit that everyone's pairing her with, because UMP40 is like kind of a damage dealer, from my understanding, is from what I've heard, is that she's a physical type unit, but she doesn't crank out the crazy kind of numbers you would expect from like a V6 Klukai or something. So it seems like the tin foil hat theory is like they're really waiting for some of the big, more hyped up units to come out, and I'm guessing they're going to be kind of like the main like damage dealer. Like my guess is AN94 or AK-15, either one of them could be a like physical unit that's like pure damage. AK-15 would be a very good target for that because Unga Bunga gorilla damage. Dude, I was thinking that too of the Radic Links. Like, I was thinking you were going to put a Covenant Ring meme in my Lord of the Rings video. And I thought about that for a minute, and I'm like, no, let's just stick with what I had in mind. Oh yeah, Harlow, how could I forget about Ulrid, the main physical damage dealer? I'll tell you why, because I don't have her. She's not bad. It's just that I don't think she puts out anywhere near the numbers that people expect of like a prime damage dealer, right? Like when you think like prime damage dealers, you think of units, I said, like Klukai, like Macchiato, I guess just, I mean, kind of like Changju for fire, right? Like these like big, heavy hitting single target damage dealers that really kind of shred bosses. And like Ulrid's thing is more about flexibility with like her movement and how she can like really like flank enemies and get around enemies and take advantage to her. And like I said, she has multiple attacks a turn, which is kind of cool, but like she doesn't put out huge damage numbers just by default, like in her kit. Like if, for example, that's why you never see her in any Gunsmoke frontline teams, because like she just doesn't do the raw damage numbers that other characters do, even if like you're like off element or whatever. And that's another thing, like physical is already fundamentally at a small disadvantage, right? Because you are not exploiting another phase weakness. So like if you're medium ammo and fire, for example, you're going to exploit 2 phase weaknesses. That's 20% extra damage. If you're physical, you're only going to get the medium ammo weakness. So you're fundamentally already down 10%, which isn't a lot. And like I said, you could easily make up for that in buffs. But you're also down on stability shred too, right? Because once again, if you exploited a second weakness, you get an extra 2 stability damage. So they got a lot of working against them. So like physical damage units have to like really pump up the numbers, in my opinion, to like make up that deficit. Like that's one of the reasons the fire team is so great right now, is it just shreds through boss stability. Like I said, you go to the target dummy here. What does this thing have? Like 65 stability? You can like shred this in one turn with a fire team. Yeah, it's like a 65 stability. You can easily get through this entire stability bar in one action phase. So, and the reason is because you're like kind of double dipping. This boss doesn't have physical, like any of the ammo weaknesses, because they designed this mode stupid. But anyway, the point is like for bosses that like really need to have their stability shredded, dual elements really help. And physical doesn't have that, unfortunately. They're leaning really heavily into the physical units ignore physical units kind of like ignore defense of the targets, which is fine. That's like kind of a cool idea, but like there's a lot of elemental units that do the same thing. I don't know. Anyway, so let's start with let me look real quick. Do I have to go over any announcements? There's no new codes. There's nothing going on here. This is just continued. Ooh, I didn't even do my supplies for the day. Yoink. Come on. Hope you guys all finished this event. It's going away soon. I liked it. I liked the story. I almost felt like this was almost as much a Michti event as it was a Vector event, but it's cool. It's cool to see like other characters kind of get some attention in the stories. Okay, well, yeah, I don't have anything to go over. So let's just hop into... So this is the big thing we're going to do today, is the expansion drill. I kind of like left you guys blue balls last week where we got to it, and I didn't do it. But I can confirm this is another really easy boss to cheese. So the whole strategy I've seen this kind of floating around in a couple different places, and I'm like, oh, this actually works pretty well. Let's do it on stream. So we're gonna do it on stream, and then I'm gonna kind of show you like an alternate method. I like this boss. The problem is they went so hard on like this boss is very unique in the way it operates, and I'll kind of go over it as we fight it. But I like it because it's cool and unique, and you have to like do things you don't normally do. But the problem is they kind of leaned a little too heavy on the vector chill part of this boss, if that makes sense. Like it's almost too perfectly tuned for vector, and it kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so let's talk about frenzies. So the whole strategy with this chi strat is you kind of just like don't attack the boss for 5 turns. You wait for the boss's shield to drop, and then you just kind of unload on her. And because of that reason, you don't want to take the usual, like usually I take these 3 because it's just like, okay, these just make the fight last longer, but it doesn't change anything about the fight. But for this particular situation, we're not actually going to take these. The kind of easy mode ones are, since we're not actually going to be doing the fight, like we're not actually like fighting the way it's kind of intended, you can kind of take these ones down here. So the tentacles are not in data reconstruction, which is when they die. They go to data reconstruction. We can go ahead and max this one out because we're not going to attack the tentacles. Same thing, if the tentacles are defeated, she gets defense increase. Well, we're not attacking them, so we can take that one. This one you do not want to take because this is the intermediate veil. This is the ability that prevents her from taking damage, and we're going to wait for this to fall off. If you take any of these, you're just gonna have to AFK even longer. So don't take this one. Then we get the stability weakness one, because once again, you're probably going to match stability on this boss. If you don't have vector, you can use Xiaomi and like frost units being macchiato, and you can kind of still get the same result. It's not that big a deal. You don't really have to exploit her weakness to you don't have to really shred all her stability. And she doesn't, herself, when she's vulnerable, she doesn't have a ton of stability to begin with, so it's not that big a deal. You can get away with that. So now we just have to take a couple more. Once again, we're not attacking the tentacles in this strategy, so you can take this one. It's not going to do anything. This one is saying that when a tentacle dies, it goes into data reconstruction. She's going to get like a stacking attack buff. But we're not going to attack the tentacles, so we don't care. And then, to be honest, the last one's kind of like, dealer's choice. Don't take this one. But it's dealer's choice. Once again, I would stay away from these because you could take the attack if you have like really thick shields on like Xiaomi or something, or you have like really good healing. But we'll just take this one because we're trying to fit all the damage in a burst window. You probably don't want to do this because this is going to mean the boss is going to take, by the time she drops her shield, she's going to be taking 25% less damage. So this is the kind of the array that I used. Take this, take this, take this, put that up to 2, and take that. That's the easy mode, and you're going to see she's just going to melt. Yeah, Arlo says I was stalling to do this because waiting 5 turns to one-shot her feels like a sleeper. Oh yeah, it definitely is. This is the problem because they leaned it so heavy. But this is a whole nother topic, and I won't deviate because we're going to do this right now. But this is kind of the problem when you make really weird power creep decisions. Like, the reason this boss exists in her form is because if I was to slap Klukai down, and this was like, she didn't have this invulnerability, what you would do is you'd throw her grenade in the middle, and these would all do a chain reaction and kill the boss in like 1 hit. Or if you had your ult, same thing, you'd like blow them all up instantly. Because of that, they had to come up with like really creative ways to like make it so you couldn't do that. I mean, I'm sure Segment 6 can still probably do it, but we get into the whole like Segment 6 is kind of just do whatever you want territory. 40 was slapping a lot of whales into the dirt. Yeah, because I would imagine, because when you get to Frenzy 40, you have all that other stuff active. So because she won't drop this this veil until like, I think it's like additional 6 turns, so she won't naturally drop it till turn 11. You just can't use this strategy of I'm just not going to attack her for 11 turns. right? Like, it's just going to take too long. So then you have to attack the little tentacles, and then that causes all sorts of nonsense. But we're going to try it this way. I'll stop talking about what ifs and maybes, and let's do it this way. Once again, if you have Vector, this is like a free win. But I'll try and like make this strategy relatively applicable to everybody. It doesn't really matter how you set up, because you got a little bit of time to position. We're going to take the fire team, because obviously this is, you can take any single target units. Fire team is obviously the one this fight is built for, because they have natural fire weakness. If we zoom in here, they have natural fire weakness, so you don't even have to have Vector to implant fire weakness. That's kind of it. I said I'm just going to bring Macchiato because she's a good single target damage dealer. You could probably throw in Diane. If you're having trouble surviving, throwing in a second healer like Colfane, especially one that gives stability, is really helpful. Or Groza. Groza's really good too, because she gives tons of shelter via her passive. And so if you position her in a relatively upfront spot, like this spot or this spot, actually any of these 4 spots would be good, you can be giving the whole team pretty much like easy stacks of shelter, which will really help. Because the only time you're going to take real significant damage from this boss is if you get stability broken and you then take a direct hit. So let's start. Welcome to the stream. Well, yeah, you didn't miss much. I was just rambling about the difference between like normal frenzy mode, or frenzy 18, or like normal non-frenzy mode, I should say. But to be fair, Radic Link, like if you're turning up to frenzy 40, you're looking for a challenge, right? Like it's not, you know, and that really is whale territory. And not, I'm sure there's some strategies where you do this boss, like, and we'll do it here in a second, where you do it like relatively normal. And you could probably do it without, like, I don't know, whale territory units. And by whale territory, I mean like segment 6 units. You just have to really put your thinking cap on. So this strategy is relatively straightforward. All the bosses, I'll try to talk you through the bosses we do this. The boss has got like 2 main things. This first one's just going to select a bunch of people. You don't have to worry about this. It's just totally random. Ignore it. But there's going to be a lot of near and far. So the near spots for this boss would be this tile and this tile. That's 4 away. So these are the 2 close spots. And then the far spots would be, you want to be here or here, and then vice versa, here or here. That will let someone soak the far attack. So whoever's going to soak near attacks should be on these 2. And whoever's going to soak far should be on these 2 in the corners. So we're having Macchiato soak far. So she's going to end up there. For near attack, doesn't really matter. You can kind of rotate units. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have Chongju take a hit, then Vector take a hit, etc. So let's... So the easy cheesy strat is just don't do anything. We're going to have Xiaomi go at the end of the turn because we want the shields to last as long as possible. Said she's near far. She's going to throw these marks on people. They, once again, they're just targeted attacks. Don't have to really worry about it. The other thing she will do, though, is she will pick the highest HP unit and kind of chunk them. This sync lock is not going to happen this turn. It's going to pick somebody. You're going to see a big marker on them, but it's not actually going to land this turn. So this turn, all that's going out is hidden execution, which is just going to be a big hit on whoever your highest HP, which is, for me, I believe it's Xiaomi, right? Oh yeah, by a lot. If you really care, like I said, if you're really struggling to survive, these pieces of cover give 30%. These ones give 35. Everything else is like 25. Oh, these ones are even worse, 20. So you want to be behind the concrete blocks. So we're just gonna swing Xiaomi over here, and yeah, just continue to not do anything. I'm just thinking if I need to prep. We're not going to prep till turn 5. Yep, so this is the marker for shared attack. So this attack is going to be split amongst everybody, so we're going to want to kind of make sure we evenly distribute that. So we're going to shift over a little. We'll have her come to here. And I think we're going to have Vector take the next hit from the closest spot. So she's going to be in the closest spot here. And then we'll just have Suomi continue to stay over here, and Macchiato can take another hit. Yep, going to do hidden execution again, so Suomi's going to take another kind of chunk. Since everybody is still going to have their shield this turn, I'm not going to throw up a new shield, and then that's going to prep us for the next turn. See, there we go. Nice and easy damage distribution. So I think we have one more turn on this. I believe it drops on either 5 or 6. I'm having a mind blank now. But we'll spread out. So this is the part where I was saying, like, units like Rosa are really helpful, because we're going to take another near far here. And then she's going to mark people. Because Chongju and Sharkery are both stability broken at this point, if they take a near or far hit, they actually kind of will get chunked. So just be a little careful about that. But we're going to put a new Suomi shield, which should give them some stability. I cannot remember off the top of my head if she comes off on turn 5 or 6. So I'll go ahead and prep. We're just getting a ton of... since we're not attacking right now, we're just getting a ton of support stacks. And then, yeah, Vector... Going into the turn, I like to... Oh, this is going to kill it. It's all right. Going into the turn, I like to throw Portent of Doom on there just so that the boss already has fire debuffs on her inactive. So that next turn when we use Dead End Meltdown, boss will take a bunch of extra. This is, like I said, you can skip this step. You don't have to. Because the one downside to doing this is, like, yeah, now you're going to start building stacks of... where is it? Crisis Awareness. This is the stack. This is the building stacks of damage up that she's going to get if you kill her tentacles. So, Macchiato can just continue to get comfy. Yeah, we'll just do that. And go ahead and throw this over in the corner. This should, yep, so this is going to restore stability, so once again, everyone will be able to take another couple hits without actually, like, losing their cover bonus. Doesn't matter that I didn't do Macchiato, because she's going to shield herself next turn. Actually, I wish they weren't attacking right now. That's a little annoying, because they're building some... They're getting some negative debuffs on themselves from Nightmarish Reenactment, but... Okay, so the boss is vulnerable, and yeah, now you just go ham. So, Chongju's got 1,000,000 supporters stacks, so the turn's gonna look like this. We're going to throw Vector's ult out, and then just unload on the boss. This is the easy cheesy strat. Because she already has a fire debuff on her from last turn, this is going to hit like a truck. Now, my Vector is segment 1, so, you know, results may vary. So if you're a little behind on the... I wish they would stop wasting their support attacks on the tentacles. So, you know, if you're a little behind on damage for this one turn, it's like not the end of the world. Actually, we should probably have Suomi crack this stability first. That's pretty much the whole fight in a nutshell. We do this, and then we rinse and repeat. Oh, click the right one. I believe she's vulnerable for one more turn. If she doesn't die from Macchiato here. Oh, she died. I can't show you. I think she's vulnerable I want to say she's vulnerable for one more turn after that. So you have a whole nother turn to dump damage into her. So yeah, that's the kind of the cheesy strat. Like, it's very... The biggest check is just how much damage you can deal in those turns. If you can't kill her in those turns, you just have to continue to do another rotation because she'll unshield again at like turn 11. Yeah, I think it's turn 11. Let's grab it again. I'll show you a slightly different version of that strat, which like plays the game kind of how they intended, but... And then we'll take enemy damage is increased by 2 because you saw, like, as long as you don't let the stacks get out of control, it's not too bad. Alrighty, let's see here. So we're going to use the same team. This is strategy kind of only works with Vector. This is what I was saying. Like, it's kind of... This fight is a little too tuned directly for Vector because this strategy is what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of kill tentacles one at a time using Vector's, like, AoE from Smolder. And that is going to slowly chip away the boss health. So for those of you who don't know how this fight actually works, is the boss is invulnerable for whatever 5 turns at the beginning. Does it say? I want to stop just guessing. Okay, deactivates on turn 5. So for the first 4 turns of the fight, you can't actually hit the boss. Now there's 2 ways to get rid of that. Either wait till turn 5 or kill all the tentacles at once. Now when you kill all the tentacles at once, she gets a big sorry, not stability, but a big defense bonus. But she's vulnerable and you can do damage to her. That's like kind of the trade-off. The problem with doing this is it's actually really hard to kill all of these tentacles at the same time because you only get 1 turn. Because when they die, they don't actually die. They just go into repair mode. And then at the next turn, they come back at full health. So you need to either AoE them all down, which is very difficult to do, because if you hit them and you don't exploit one of their weaknesses, they're going to slap you back. So that's why I was saying units like Klukai get really kind of crapped on. Like, you can take Michi a little bit to alleviate it because she can, like, put a corrosion puddle down, but it won't touch all of them. So the second you try and hit all of them with Klukai, it can get a little spicy because she's going to take a ton of counterattacks. And right now the fire team doesn't really have a ton of good AoE. So the real strategy is kill the tentacles one at a time. Every time you kill a tentacle, it does 4% of her max HP, this is another way you can do the boss with those other settings. Like if you wanted to take the HP defense, still probably to stay away from the attack power increase, but you could take the HP and the defense buffs and just focus 1 tentacle down at a time, as we're about to do, and get pretty good results that way. But we're gonna use the same team. Like I said, really, Vector is a good unit. Michi wouldn't be bad either, but like I said, the problem with that team is there's not really any good single target corrosion damage dealers right now, and you kind of want to be cautious about AoE. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to kind of like line up in our spots. Only this time we're going to be attacking. So we're not going to ult right away because we still want to save this ult for when she's actually vulnerable. So we're just going to kind of pick any tentacle and attack. I tested it. I did not see a difference between attacking the weapon types because in the flavor text of these, they tell you which weapons are attacking. Like for example, this one is all the ARs attack. But from what I quickly tested, I could be wrong about this. It doesn't matter how many ARs are dead. It still does the same thing because they come back to life when she's going to attack. So we'll just, whatever. What's up? We're not going to ult. We're going to save that for the burst phase. And then this strategy is, like I said, very similar. You just kill a tentacle, and then when that tentacle's dead, you move on to the next one. And the entire time, she's going to be taking fixed damage instances because of Vector's passive overheat combustion. So anytime she applies this to a target and you do fire damage to it, it's going to be rocking fixed damage. So we kill this tentacle. Now we're going to move on. This strategy helps a little bit. Yeah, I know she doesn't have full convectance, but it's, like I said, not the end of the world. This strategy helps a little bit if you're a little slower on the like DPS, like your units aren't as geared out, because you're going to be chipping away at the boss the entire time. The one downside to the strategy, there's two downsides. One, you're going to accumulate a bunch of these nightmarish reenactment stacks. So if you don't have a debuff cleanser like Centurici or Xiaomi, the turn before she loses her shield, which would be turn 4, you're going to have to not attack, so this falls off, because you want to go into turn 5 with all your buffs up. So just keep that in mind. And the other downside to this is, every time you kill one of these guys, she's going to get a stack of Crisis Awareness, which we also took the buff. This one here, for each tentacle that enters data reconstruction, the attack is further increased, so she starts to get a lot of bonuses. So you got to be a little careful. We're still gonna, same thing, we're gonna wait to hold mental defense. So actually, this is a 3-turn cooldown. Yeah, this actually should be up in time. And then yeah, just pick a tentacle and kill it. Like, that one counterattacked her because she didn't match a weakness type. But like I said, we want fire weakness. We're just gonna have Xiaomi throw this off in the corner. But essentially, the fight's gonna repeat as if you AFK'd. And yeah. What are we doing? We got max HP and then 3 random targets. So once again, we don't have to move. Same thing. We just actually, Chongju needs to do common rail first. Let's have her pick that target. Yeah. Indirect damage should not trigger the debuff fully. I will test that. So we are attacking one target here, but it's going to hit multiples because this target is affected by a fire debuff, which means that they should take 50% fixed damage. She should only get 1 stack from this. She'll probably get more because she's going to do some follow-ups. Can I slow it down? No, it's too late. So that should be 1 stack. That should be a 2nd stack. That should be a 3rd stack. That should be a 4th stack. The downside of having segment 1. Okay, yeah. So she only actually gets a Nightmarish Reenactment stack when she actually does a targeted attack. This is awkward. I gotta finish all these off. You don't want to let them sit to, like, at low HPs like this. You want to finish off as many as you can. Let's have you do that. Can we kill that? Yeah, we'll just leave those other 2 low. And can I one-shot any of these other tentacles? This one is a one-shot. Because this is assuming I don't crit, but Macchiato has a 100% chance to crit. Alright, we're gonna have to rotate our... Yeah, so like all those fixed damage instances did not put stacks on Vector. So we got another turn here of do nothing. Well, we actually want to split this damage correctly, and we want to do near far. Yeah, so let's do... How's Macchiato doing? She can take another hit. We're gonna have Sharkery take the near hit. So Sharkery's gonna stand where Chongju's standing, which is fine, because she's gonna ult right now. And Vector will just... Actually, Vector can probably be right here, because if we were to move... Yeah, this will clip Vector. Perfect. So Vector just continue to be comfy. I'm just thinking real quick. Yeah, we're still going to want Xiaomi to hold the shields for 1 turn. We're still really healthy. Like I said, if you were struggling, you could bring another unit like Colfane, because Colfane does a pretty good job of removing debuffs on the team, so that will help with the Nightmarish Reenactment stacks, but she also does a really strong job of Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't really matter which ones you hit. Frontline also does a really good job of restoring stability. You could also, if you really wanted to, like I said, take Xiaomi. I always run Xiaomi with this key, this one here, positive feedback. I know a lot of other people don't. I love this key. So if the shield on one of these guys did actually break, you could just continuously spam Snow's Grace on them without losing any like confectants, and that would mess up your rotation. So we're gonna wait one more turn before we refresh the shields, and she is fine to stand there. Yeah, okay, I had to think about that. Because we're going to do near and far, which should be Sharkery and Macchiato. Next turn, yeah, next turn we can do... get our Convectance back. Like I said, doing it kind of legit. Ooh, that took a lot more than I thought it did. Ooh. Was I not paying attention? Did I drop the shields? Or did I just make her really angry? No, I just made her really angry. So that is the downside to doing this strat. What's the boss at for attack? Yeah. I think we went a little too hard on that. I killed way more tentacles this time than I did last time. Well, we should still be good. We might have to redo this a little bit. Maybe I do have to use that Xiaomi shield this turn. Oops, not turn 3. End of turn 3 right here. Let's go ahead, use this just as a precaution. We'll do Macchiato first. I might have gotten a little too ham here. This is, like I said, this is the downside of doing it this way, is you really do increase the boss's damage by a lot. There we go. We had enough stability and shields to live through it. Alright, so this turn we have another near far, right? Near far, and then she's going to mark 3. So we are actually going to have... Who's going to be the near? I think we're going to do... Yeah, Macchiato will be fine. We do Xiaomi near. I want her to put a new shield on, so I want really it to go on Sharkery because it'll be free. But it's awkward because I got to come over to do it. Not the end of the world, but... Okay, so going into this turn, like I said, she's going to be vulnerable next turn, so we just want to kind of stall and put our buffs up. So Chongju's going to ult. Vector is going to prep with this. We should be fine. I'm thinking, I'm like, do I really want to give her more stacks at this point? Like, the good news is doing it this way, like I said, she's taken a ton of damage already. Ever stop attacking. Like I said, she's more than half dead already, so it really alleviates the amount of damage you need to do during the burst turn. And we probably want this to fall off, so let's not. I think we're just gonna chill. There's so many free targets though. Now we do need Sharkery there to soak the near attack. Yeah, we're just actually gonna have her stall for a turn, and then Macchiato, you can actually, I'm going to have you stall for a turn, too, because if I use this ability to get her Convectance back, she's going to take a hit. And she's not... Didn't have any stability right now, so it's actually going to do a decent amount. And she's also going to be taking the far hit this turn. You know what? Whatever, dude. Ever. Surely this won't backfire. I said she should still be really healthy to take the far hit. Yeah. And then, yeah, now we're back to where we were before, but only this time the boss has way less health. I said the only difference with this strategy is you gotta kind of juggle the HP values a little bit. But we'll probably just absolutely wreck her now. And all her stability is gone, so she is gonna get absolutely chunked. Said the other strategy is for sure easier though. But yeah, we have a lot of extra damage to go. I know, that was riveting. Like, out of curiosity. All the fixed damage from Vector is just like, is wild. This is why you never ever take damage stat charts like this seriously, because someone would look at this and say Vector is better than all three of these units, a better damage dealer than all three of these units. That's why you never, never, never listen to these charts and take them out of context. Anyway, guys, that's your easy, that's your semi-legit way, as well as the easy way to do this boss. Yeah, like I said, they leaned a little too hard, in my opinion, in the anti-Klukai hate club. Like, this is the problem. And this is kind of something I wanted to like mention. Game balance is kind of in a wacky spot. And they did this in NeuroCloud 2. And they kind of did this a little bit in GFL1, although not nearly as... GFL1 was a constant cycle of learning what they were... It was a constant cycle of the devs learning on what kind of game they want to make and improving on it. Because every time they power creep themselves, they just introduced a whole new mechanic, right? Like, it's like, oh, man, these enemy units are dying to, like, these instant kill, like, machine gun shotgun teams were just like, or the machine gun boat team, right? Like, 4 machine guns plus, like, a cracked out buffer, like, contender. I was like, oh, this team is just literally killing everything before it even attacks. What do we do about this? Well, I know. We'll introduce new units with this thing called force shields, and then we're going to introduce these hawks that you have to bring around, heavy ordnance corps, for those of you who are unfamiliar. You have to bring like these like support units around on the battlefield that are like in range of the main fighting teams. So they just kept power creeping themselves, and that like kind of fixed the problem. But in this game, I don't know if they have that kind of ability to design too much stuff, because the other problem with that is like it makes the barrier to entry for newer players incredibly high, right? Because not only are you now behind on units and leveling and like, you know, your collection of characters you can choose from, like your roster, you're also behind on heavy ordnance corps. And obviously one of the easiest things to do for stuff like this is that they just time gate it. So it gets really messy. Right, and in this game, they're at a problem now where it's like, okay, well, you created a unit like Klukai that just like kind of wipes the floor with stuff, even if she's not segmented out. If she's segmented out, it's like, well, of course she's going to. But even if she's not segmented out, she can kind of like get out of control. So they have to like start making fights and bosses that are just like direct counters to her. And then, like I said, you get these like really niche specified bosses or specific bosses that have to have like very specific strategies to deal with them, and it just gets messy. Like doing that fight, for example, without any sort of phase weakness implant is like, well, I hope you have a fire team and Vector or get wrecked, because like those, in addition to what we just saw where the boss like kind of ramps up in damage and starts hitting kind of hard, if you don't have the phase weakness match, like if you don't have Xiaomi to implant Frost, I'm sorry, because now you're also going to be getting hit with the tentacles with counterattacks. I've heard you're trolling if you don't have Vector at this point. I wouldn't say you're trolling. I would just say that for this specific boss, you're making it really hard on yourself. Okay, so we did that. I think tonight, the rest of tonight, we're just going to kind of chillax, and I think I'm gonna do a boundary push for funsies. I don't know, maybe we'll talk about, there's a couple other random topics I was dying to chit chat about and get the people's opinion, but you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna take a super quick break and get a new drink, and yeah, I'll be back in like a minute. If you guys have something you want me to do, like any particular content, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'll see it when I come back. So we're going to take a 2-minute break now. I didn't fix the streams like taking a break window, so we're just gonna... I'm gonna go back to the intro video here for a minute while we wait for me to come back. I'll BRB 1 minute. We're back. We're back. Radical Ink says you could show us your sick collection of trophies, of mob trophies, in the curio room. Well, the thing about that is I don't have any. Now I know you're gonna call me a casual, and that is 100% earned. Yeah, I haven't really done this yet. I haven't messed with this. I have some of them unlocked. I just like haven't got around to actually like whatever putting them on the shelves and doing them. So this is cool, and I know that they're kind of working on adding to this to the version of the Elmo where you get to walk around, the one they previewed, the one that was in the meme Lord of the Rings video for like 30 seconds. But yeah, right now this is just kind of like, okay, to me this is just like a weird, like, what is this? What's the point of this? Right? Like, it's kind of cool that you get like rewards and stuff based on how many you get, but even the rewards are kind of like, it's like a bunch of random ass titles. It's like, okay. And then it's like, bro, really? Like, more combat reports and stuff? It's like, I guess every now and then they throw you a gold chip, which is cool, but anyway, I've had zero motivation to do this because it's like, all right, well, this is just kind of like, it's not going anywhere, and there's kind of no reason to rush it. But yeah, you guys don't want to talk strats with any characters, any builds or anything. You don't want to see me tell you the intricacies of there's nothing to talk about. Who am I kidding? This game's dead. Game's dead. Everyone go home. Trash game, trash streamer. Ah, tasty. Well, let's do a boundary push while we're just kind of waiting. What do we got? Fire weakness? Well, we just did fire stuff. We'll do... Ooh, corrosion and fire. Ooh, we got choices. Ooh. We'll use the corrosion team, even though it's like not really a... You know what? Let's do you. And let's do... You, your best friend. And then your other best friend. And then I guess we need a healer. I guess I'll bring Xiaomi. I mean, we could do it without a healer. Let's make it spicy. Let's do it with... Yeah, you know what? Groza. I don't even have her statted out. She's still wearing garbage everything, but she's there to look cool. Will I be pulling for Yuhi? I mean, maybe? Like, so I'm not really... I think what we're going to do, Willie, is throw a 50-50 at her, because I've done that for every character, and like I said, I'm just going to let Jesus decide whether I get her or not. I'm not super crazy about her. Like, the character design is not really... doesn't really mesh with me. Like, I don't really... I know, this is the... You can tell I'm an American when I say things like, I don't really understand K-pop idols. What's that all about? But yeah, I don't really care for K-pop or idol stuff, so that kind of doesn't resonate with me. And I'm not a gooner, so I'm not really into the skin either. So like, for me, she's just kind of like whatever, because she doesn't really have a place in the game as far as like her playstyle. I mean, I got nothing against her other than that. It's just that, you know, she's just kind of like a whatever for me right now. Maybe in the future, if they had like a whole playstyle that synergized around her or was like interesting and new, I'd be more hype. Ew, gross. How do I get around these guys? No, I wanted... There we go. What's the secret to always pulling a gold? And well, you see, Jasco, it's this well-known secret. Ooh, we'll get another boss here. A well-known secret that Mr. Krabs once told me called money. This is not our target, by the way, but we're gonna kill him anyway. Oh, never mind. I guess the environment's gonna kill him. I'm trying to make this not hit me. Good game. I mean, I like these because they're freebies, but it's kind of weird that like they have a whole game mode like this, and then it doesn't even really matter that you don't even have to actually fight anything in it. I don't know. Just... Oh no, I'm coming at you. Oh no, who is that? Oh, Radicling. So you wanted to see the Corrosion team with Sumi and Macchiato? Yeah, well, I obviously already started, so I can't really change it now. But so the reason the Corrosion team sometimes gets paired with Macchiato and Xiaomi is because, ooh man, they really cannot. Yeah, this will be fine. Walk in this bush here. The problem with the Corrosion team is like they started off on a strong foot. They're like, yeah, we're gonna make Klukai. She's gonna do all this Corrosion AoE nonsense, and then yeah, we're gonna make Michti, and she's gonna like really buff Klukai, and then also like bring like Pritia into like the meta as far as like a usable unit. And then they stopped, and then they walked away from the whole idea, and they like switched over to making the Fire team like have a complete roster. And then they just kind of like gave up on the Corrosion team. So the issue with the Corrosion team is Nemesis unfortunately doesn't really fit in the team very well. And so you have this like awkward situation of similar to the Fire team where you have Vector, Chongjun, Sharkri as like the three core pillars. Klukai, Michti, and Pritia are the three core pillars of the Corrosion team. And then there's just nobody else to kind of go with them. And all three of those units obviously are very AoE oriented. Now, if you have segment 6 Klukai, of course, then she just literally kills everything. So it doesn't really matter that it's single target versus AoE focus. Can I target this barrel, please? So it doesn't really matter whether it's single target or AoE, but for people who don't have segment 6 Klukai, you're really heavy on AoE damage, but you're very light on single target damage. So Macchiato is a good fit. And like Macchiato plus Xiaomi, once again, they don't really have a full ice team. I mean, they kind of do now on the CN servers. Wow, another boss that we didn't have to actually fight. I should have fought him anyway. Sorry, guys. I was not paying attention. I can't undo what I've done. But, yes, Xiaomi only needs... Or, I'm sorry, Macchiato really only needs Xiaomi there just to implant the weakness. And Xiaomi is just a fantastic, like, overall healer, so it just kind of works out that way. You either take 2 and 2, like Michi and 416, or you take, like in content that allows you to take 5 characters, you take 3 and 2. You take all 3 of the corrosion units and then 2 of the ice units. Because, once again, the issue is they kind of messed up the balance a little bit. While the corrosion team is really strong, all 3 pieces, Deshevia is really kind of crap for the ice team. So running... Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Running Xiaomi and Macchiato is really powerful, but like you don't really need to bring Deshevia with you. Speaking of which, what are we gonna do? Let's do fire team. Where's my vector? She is. And then yeah, for the healer, we're gonna do Centurici. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Radicling, to answer the second half of your question, which I kind of glossed over. So you don't have Macchiato, but you have Xiaomi. Xiaomi is just like a solid healer, right? Because she's just kind of miles better than all the other like defensive healer units. Because shields are just like essentially a second HP bar. And if you like were really crazy, you could get her segment 1 and then become a healer and a shielder. We're just gonna sneak past all these sleeping guys. So Xiaomi is just like a solid healer, and the corrosion team doesn't have like a dedicated healer to it right now. That's kind of part of the equation. Now maybe in the future they'll change that, but for like right this moment, there's not really a healer that goes in that team, so it's just like take whatever. And Xiaomi is probably one of the best whatever choices in the game for like healers. Gotta wait for these guys to go off alert. In the Sumi with Macchiato on the corrosion team, so on large bosses you can get both weakness implants because they take up so many tiles. You can kind of like split the weakness tiles underneath them, as long as like one of the tiles is underneath any of the boss's tiles, which I will show here. This time I promise I will not just instant kill this boss. We do have to clear out the ads though. But yeah, you can get both types of implants on the boss. But if you had to choose, then so ideally you would. So turn 1, you wouldn't be able to put. I'm thinking about this in my head. So turn 1, it would actually. So Michi has to go into turbo mode. She won't be able to go into patch mode. Oh man, this is ugly. There's kind of no way I can... Why did they arrange these like this? The problem of no machine gun right now. If I do that... No, that doesn't... Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm trying to cheese this and like get him to look a different direction, but I think we're just gonna kind of go crazy and kill all these guys at the same time. So turn 1, Michi doesn't actually implant corrosion weakness because she has to go into turbo mode. So turn 1 can kind of look like this. Michi goes, Klukai goes, Pritia goes, and then at the end of the turn you throw down Macchiato's ult with her first cold precision shot, and then you put Xiaomi's ult down after that. So that's going to guarantee the shield is going to last for 2 full turns after that. And Macchiato will have the frost weakness implanted for her follow-up attacks from the... Or not follow-up attacks, but her, like, ambush attacks. Okay, well, we're going to actually have to fight everything. So, see how this boss takes up so many of these tiles? If you have one frost tile right over here in the corner... I can't click it, but if this corner here was a frost tile and the rest of them are corrosion tiles, this boss would get implanted with both weaknesses. So, and I don't have a good way to show this off because I only have fire, but like you could throw Xiaomi's ult on the boss like this, and it's going to cover up all the squares with frost. And then when the corrosion tiles get planted on the boss, I think there'll be one corner somewhere that's not totally covered up. So that's kind of how you get both weaknesses. If not, you just like stagger it. Like I said, you put all the frost tiles on one side and all the corrosion tiles just kind of wherever else. You can kind of get both weaknesses in there, but it's not that important. Oh, this is I mean, we could kill all these guys, or we could just kill the boss. Okay, well. Really wish there was like a nightmare mode of this where the bosses actually did something and like had HP. Well, that was anticlimactic. Oh. That was fun. I mean, I saw someone complaining about this the other day, and I didn't really have anything to tell them. Right? They were saying like I'm not really, I don't know, man. Gacha players, like the duality of gacha players. Like on the one hand, they're like, oh, so this guy was complaining that he didn't want to keep logging into the game and play the game. He was like about to quit because he felt that he had a couple weird opinions, but one of the main opinions was that there's essentially nothing to do in the game. He's like, there's no real content in the game. And it's like, okay, if you don't like doing the one boss a week or one boss every 2 weeks for expansion drills, and you don't like showing up to do Gunsmoke Frontline, it's like I can easily see how you get relatively bored because there's nothing that's even remotely difficult in the game. So he was like kind of complaining that was the case, and I was inclined to believe with him, or to agree with him. And then like somebody else chimed in, they're like, but I love the fact that I don't have to do anything. He's like, I play other games where they make me do all these annoying dailies and they make me do all these different like game modes, and he's like, I love the fact that you don't have to do anything. So he's like, I'm just here to do the quick come here, hit supply, dump your stamina or your intel or your trailblaze power, whatever fucking you want to call it, and then be done. And then be like, okay, cool, I'm done. See you tomorrow. They love that. And then, obviously there's events, do the events for the story and the bosses, and then call it a day. So, I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like you can never make everyone happy, but he did have a small point in that it's like if you don't like some of the very few pieces of content that there are in the game, there's not a ton to do. And in my opinion, because the content isn't super difficult, which is totally fine, there's not really any push for the average player to improve their units, right? Like my units, I feel like are pretty well like geared out and like like built correctly. There's a couple improvements, like Pretia doesn't. This is more of a core problem though. Pretia doesn't have her other key, and maybe you could increase the attachments of some of these characters, but for the most part, it's like we just crushed that expansion drill boss, right? Even on Frenzy 18. Now, sure, you could crank it up to Frenzy 40 if you wanted a challenge, and that's fine. But like, let's say that's like that doesn't really get you going. That doesn't scratch the itch for you. Like, he's right? Like I like boundary push, but boundary push bosses, as you just saw, just fall over dead. You know, story is caps out at like level 20. Challenge modes are like not much more challenging than that. Oh, we didn't do these. Oh. Well, this will be essentially the same fight we just did. Yeah, sorry, we're not going to do that today. We literally just did that fight. But it's like, I can understand the complaints for some people. They just don't have a ton of different choices. You know, it's like the game really could use... Like, that's kind of what I was hoping Boundary Push was going to be. It was like kind of like a sandbox game mode where you could like take on the most difficult situation. It is as difficult of a situation as you wanted to, right? Like if you wanted to roll up on a boss fight and kill all the ads, you could pick them off one at a time, you know, strategically before you enter battle, or you could then, you know, just throw yourself in full bore at the boss, and the boss has like, you know, relatively competitive stats that like would challenge you, or maybe some like effects, like battlefield effects that like make the boss interesting to fight. But they kind of didn't do that, so it's like essentially what they turned that mode into was like show up, do it a couple times, then send your dudes off on crystal collection, and then just AFK this mode and get a bunch of free rewards every week. That's essentially what this mode turned into, was like show up and get the rewards by doing logistics missions. And it's like, that's kind of cool and all, but like I said, it just doesn't add any replayability to the game, which makes it... I don't know. I don't know. Oh, sorry, we're going back in time. Wooly was commenting on Dashivia's problem with being skill point star for her ice AoE attack. Yeah, Dashavia was never really a good AoE character to begin with. Like, she has some ability to AoE on her kit. Where is she? The problem with this is the multipliers are pathetic, right? Like 50%, and then oh wow, the second use goes up to 100, or it goes up to 70%. Like, so at total, you're doing 120%, but you're splitting it in half. It's like, this is like, bleh. And then you can only do this like once every 2 turns or whatever, because the way Dashavia's got big design flaws, which I've talked about before. It's just, yeah, I don't think she was really ever meant to be an AoE unit though, right? Like Kukai is from the grounds up a DPS unit, right? Like, she even labeled as Sentinel, just in case you didn't know, high damage output. You know, Dashavia, they, in her defense, they claim right up front, they're like, this is a support character. This is not meant to be a damage dealer. You know, you're not really gonna be killing lots of enemies. The problem is, like, her supporting capabilities are just like really, really bleh. It would have been fine if instead of doing damage, this did lots of other cool stuff, but it makes frost tiles, which is like redundant when you have Xiaomi on the team. And it applies Frigid, which is also kind of redundant with Xiaomi on the team, and also is kind of awkward because half of the enemies in the game are immune to Frozen, which is the second half of... I'm sorry. See, I got it wrong again. They're immune to Frigid, which is what happens when you get 2 stacks of Frozen. God, I hate the naming of that. This Wooly says this patch was not very engaging. Vector is cool and all, but the story was short, and there is no Gunsmoke Survivor. Pour one out. I'm gonna pour one out for my homies in the Frontline Survivors. Where is it? Oh, I guess I can't show you, but yeah, it's he's talking about the mini game where you run around and shoot things. Yeah, there's no mini game with this. This is like, I mean, it's meant to be a small side story, and I get that. It's kind of like a quote filler event, but I mean, I agree with you 100%, Wooly. There's just like, you do the story, which takes like, you know, a couple hours maybe if you're like reading through it all real carefully, and that's it. It just, They don't really reuse any of the... I mean, I guess we got a new boss out of it that they used for expansion drill, which is cool. But, you know, just meh. We got a lot of the quality of life improvements, which is really cool. You know, like the I already forgot, like the formation. This was part of the patch, and there was a couple other things. So I don't want to like say there was nothing in this patch, but keeping players engaged is definitely a big thing. And to be honest, I've started to notice player engagement for this game kind of dropping. And that's always to be expected after the honeymoon phase of a game is over. Only the truly hardcore, the truly dedicated fans will stick around. But you don't want that to be the case because of mismanagement of the game. You want that just to be because whatever the hype phase is over, and whatever people who are playing it just because their friends are playing it, like those people were probably gonna, you know, go play other games, which is fine. But you do want to keep your core audience engaged, and you do want them to keep like playing the game. And like even me, who obviously I stream this game every week and I do guides and all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah, there's just not a lot going on in the game right now, which is why we're just looking at Vector here at the title screen and talking, because I don't really got anything else to show you guys. Right? Like, I mean, even if I wanted to, it's like that was the other thing. They added another difficulty to this. They added this to tier 9, which was cool. And I'm like, oh, wow, you know, we're going to do new strategies and stuff. The boss died literally on the first turn for both my teams. I did the fire team and the macchiato team. And I think we literally went one round, and I did the max damage you're allowed to do to the boss, which is why I think this is the maximum amount of points you can get, because it cut me off, right? Like I did one round, and then it's like, okay, game over, and then it moved me to the next half of the fight, and then I did one round, I did a bunch of damage, and then like, okay, game over, and they just cut me off, because excellent is only 183,000, and I surpassed that. So I don't know, maybe I triggered something that like ended it early, but the point is, like, there wasn't even anything to talk about for that. I was like, oh, we could do this on stream, but you know, it is what it is. So next week is going to be Yuhi. We're going to do some polls on her. And I'm trying to think of what else was teased in that patch besides the much beloved Gunsmoke Frontline, which is going to be the same boss except physical flavor this time. Physical and burn, I think, are the two elements on it, which still doesn't matter because Kukai Segment 6 is so cracked you're still going to use her, even if she doesn't match the weakness types. Yeah, so I think... I mean, I could just sit here and talk lore and talk other stuff. Like, I kind of wanted to talk about... We talked about game balance and how the game is kind of like in a weird... Like, is it too easy? Should there be more... difficult content? But also at the same time, some people love that. Some people love the fact that the game is like a casual friendly side game that they just kind of like pop in, do the dailies real quick, and then it doesn't require a lot from them, you know, because like, to be honest, most people can only have one or two main games that they play, especially when it comes to gachas. And gachas tend to be the side games, so it's like you don't want to make them too much of a hassle to play, because then people will just stop playing. And to be honest, that's kind of what happened, I think, with like GFL1. Like, it got to be a little too much. Most people were like, oh man, there's too many dailies, there's too many things to grind, like, I'm just checking out. Well, he says, Yohi is not looking good for people who didn't grab Yulrid and Diane. Yeah, I mean, I got Diane, but I didn't get Ulrid, and I don't think they're rerunning Ulrid again. Right? I don't remember if they talked about that on the stream, but I wouldn't be mad about throwing another... Oh, I remember they were talking about, they were saying that for the 6-month anniversary, which should be coming up next month, like June 3rd-ish would be the official 6-month point. That is going to have a banner that supposedly, it's like It's a limited banner, but you don't. There's no 50-50. It's just if you get a 5-star on that, like the first 5-star you get will be the character that you pick off the list. So it'll be similar to this, right? Like you'll pick which one you want to target, and then you're gonna roll on that banner until you get that character. And there's no 50-50 gamble. It's just you get that character once you get a 5-star. But it only works one time, and I guess the pity doesn't overflow. So, and I think Ulrid was going to be on that banner. So if that's true, I'm probably going to pick her up on that banner because I have everybody else. But yeah, if nothing else, I could use Yohi with Diane. It's just that Diane's like, she's a good damage dealer, but like she's not amazing. But yeah, I think we're gonna wind it down there, guys. Like, it's been a pretty chill week, and I'm okay with that. We got really nothing else to go over. So yeah, we're gonna wind it down there, and next week, look forward to some gambling for Yuhi. We can talk about some other stuff. We'll have a new expansion drill. We'll probably do that, and we'll see what else. They're gonna have an event with Yuhi, but once again, I have low expectations for like the difficulty or if there's anything really to talk about with that. So, and we'll talk about some of our other discussion topics. But yeah, we're gonna end it there. So thank you guys all for coming. Like I said, real chill stream today. Not much going on, but I appreciate you all coming out nonetheless, and I appreciate you guys all watching this in the future. For anybody who watches this, Saturday or Sunday or whatever, or even 5 years from now, maybe we'll all look back at this time and be like, wow, he was so wrong about everything he said. And I'll be the first to admit it. Oh, and Radical Link says they might be rerunning Ulrid with Yohi, according to the official YouTube channel. So yeah, maybe we'll, if nothing else, secretly, this is totally selfish, but the real reason I want her is to pair with my Vector and Changju and to proc six follow-up attacks a turn, or 6 support attacks. That's the real reason I want her. It's one of the few ways. It's why if you go to the wonderful leaderboards, you'll see that she's in all the whale teams, because she's like one of the few ways you can actually proc all 6 of these follow-up attacks from a high segment Vector and Changju. And I just like her. So anyway, thanks you guys all for coming. I hope you guys have a good one, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya. Oh, I guess I don't have any music set up on this outro. Oh, sorry guys. Imagine the music.